let's fact check some criticisms about dams. On X, Save the World's Rivers claims, the waters behind Glen Canyon Dam and Lake Powell are causing methane volcanoes. Here we are rafting in the upper reaches of Lake Powell, and here you can see gas bubbling up out of the sand on the dry lake bed. So this creator is basically claiming that the organic matter that gets flushed into a reservoir and trapped eventually gets released in the atmosphere as greenhouse gases. There's a very striking example of this right now in Lake Powell, where sections of canyon that have been underwater for decades are now exposed to air for the first time in a long time. On an individual basis, this is essentially true, but it's highly misleading. For one thing, Lake Powell did not cause this to happen. Organic matter ends up in streams and rivers all the time, and eventually it decomposes. And the byproduct of that decomposition is carbon dioxide and a lot of cases methane. Completely natural, and it's happening in every river in the world. So if the dam wasn't there, all this organic matter would be decomposing somewhere else. Eventually, in the ocean, where it would also decompose into carbon-based gases. It's just the circle of life. It's the carbon cycle. It's happening all the time. But where this argument really misses the point is in failing to distinguish between the natural carbon cycle and putting new hydrocarbons in the air from fossil fuels. Because every ounce of carbon coming out of this methane volcano came from some sort of organism that absorbed that carbon from the atmosphere within the last, say, 100 years. It's no different than a tree getting cut down in the forest and being burned in a campfire for firewood. This is different than pulling new carbon out of the ground in the form of fossil fuels. When you burn coal, when you burn natural gas, you are putting carbon into the atmosphere that has not been there anytime recently. And the atmosphere does not have an unlimited supply of room for additional carbon. This concept is why burning natural gas is considered bad for the climate, but burning biofuels is not, because the biofuel originated from something that pulled carbon out of the atmosphere, whereas the fossil fuel just came out of the ground. So yeah, methane volcanoes in Lake Powell, debunked.